Did you take this next one from my tomato plant?
Yes. I was going to name her full celebrity, but I thought it's kind of cute, like shortened celeb.
So I start all my plants from seed in my greenhouse, and I had leftover tomato plants, and so I posted it on Facebook, and I listed out all the varieties of tomatoes that I had. And
which are ridiculous.
Kara's like, this sounds like a list of good dog names. Okay, Kara.
Well, one of them was like Gardener's Delight, Celebrity,
Rutgers.
That's
Girly Girl. Better Boy.
These are dog names.
We should do a garden-themed group.
That would be cute.
That would be cute.
Yeah.
Probably would go over better than our serial killer theme group.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my dog. Dog. Oh, my dog.
Oh, my dog, hey.
Oh, my dog, hello.
I was just responding to a message and had a slight delay in my
Are you here?
brain.
I really should leave the beginning in because your guests don't know that you start off with a 3, 2, 1.
You should.
And this would be perfect because it was 3, 2, 1. Cricket noise, cricket noise, cricket noise.
Type.
Bueller.
I'm ready now.
Bueller.
I'm ready.
I saw that in my family group chat the other day, and my mom did not get the
She didn't know what it was?
No.
That's one of my
She's
favorite
like,
films
Who
of
are
all
you
time.
talking to?
Life moves by pretty fast.
Oh, shit.
If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Well, we are in sweet summertime.
Oh, it's so lovely. I love the warmth.
I do
I'm so
too.
tired. We were having some cool days, and I was getting very discouraged, but
Yeah.
the heat is here.
I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
I spent the entire weekend on my dock basking in the sunshine and getting a little bit of tan for our trip to Florida.
Yeah, you look good. I'm going to have to get it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not very tan. Well, no one's going to see my midsection, which is the really white part, so that'll be fine. Like,
Oh.
don't look at my belly.
I was out doing yard work last week before I left, and I was trimming back these osprey trees, which they grow ridiculously fast, but they also grow all these little offshoots. So I'm just like, bebopping down the line, and I'm cutting them off, and I'm holding them with this hand and cutting with this hand and holding them with this, and I just keep cutting, and I'm just, thinking about the daisies and doing all the things. And then all of a sudden I have this fistful of shit, and I'm like, some of these leaves don't look like the others. Like Sesame Street, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have a whole ass handful of poison ivy.
No, you do not.
Yes, I do.
Oh, no.
And I am, like, deathly allergic to poison ivy. Horribly allergic to poison ivy. I mean, real bad.
Yeah.
So I just stop midair like this, and I drop the tools that I had cut it all with, because the oil gets all over them. The oil from the poison ivy.
Oh, my goodness.
The urushiol oil.
Yeah.
I drop the tool, and I take the handful of shit, and I put it in the thing, and I walk into the house with my arms up,
Put your hands in the air.
like the police are after me or something. And I get to the sink, and I have that the Dawn Platinum
Yes,
spray
that's
shit.
the best stuff ever.
Best stuff ever. And I just spray the shit out of my arms.
If it's
all
good enough
the way
for the wildlife, it's good enough for us,
all
you know?
the way up to my shoulders. And I'm in the sink, and I'm just scrubbing. Did that like 3 times.
Did you remediate?
Then I declothed and derobed, I guess is the proper term. And I'm all the time trying to not touch myself.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I get in the shower and bring the big jug of Dawn dish soap with me into the shower, and I'm just scrubbing, trying to scrub all this shit off me. Oh my God. I still think I got a little bit of a rash actually on my face here.
Oh, yeah, I saw that little
Can you
spot
see
right
it?
there. Yeah.
But, Stanley goes on these little adventures,
And then you
through all
gotta
the
go burrow
weeds.
him out.
and then he comes into bed with me, and he's got all the oils on him.
Stanley.
So I get all these little, like, one-off little
Welts.
patches everywhere. It's terrible.
My family forced me to go into nature this weekend, and stood outside, and every like few minutes I'd be like, oh my gosh, ouch, I think I got stung by something, and it would welt up. Like I was just standing near no plants, just like in the water, knees in the water, and I would get these like welts on my hand, and I got one on my arm, and they just really raised up and welted, and it felt like someone was like stabbing me. And Marcus is like, there's no bugs around. And I was like, I'm allergic to this.
I'm allergic to the outdoors.
I hate it out here. Yeah, annoying.
Remember I got stung by that jellyfish in the Virgin Islands?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, my whole stomach welted up. Oh, the bat phone.
It's ringing. Look at that. How'd you make that happen? That's hilarious.
That's the contact. It's paw prints and the bat emoji.
So when she gets a bat phone call, the stupid little bat phone bulldog pops up, and then it says OMD bat phone, and then there's a bat emoji, a paw emoji, a bat emoji, and it just scrolls across. That's really legit.
I should give it its own ringtone.
Na 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 na
I
na
never
na
had
na.
my phone.
Bat phone.
You need to set your phone up so the light flashes too,
Yeah.
It's like a real alert.
like a real bat signal.
That thing's been going off a lot lately.
And the same.
It's all the same phone call though.
Yeah.
It's the hilarity of it has lost its luster, I'll tell you that much.
Well, honestly, and it's all like we said in the beginning, and we've said a million times, but your lack of planning does not equate an emergency on my behalf.
I was just telling you about this girl called yesterday or the day before, and she said, I'm getting kicked out of my house. They sold it and didn't tell me or something, or they sold it, whatever.
And now I have to move.
Now I have to move. And she had these two, just guess,
Pitbulls?
mix, yeah. And has to get rid of them right away. I said, well, what's your game plan? Like, where are you going to go? Well, I'm going to have to go stay with my brother until I can figure something out. And he can't have dogs at his place. And I've tried to, get an apartment here, and they don't allow dogs, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I said, so they just sold it out from underneath you? They didn't give you any notice or nothing? Being the,
Yeah.
stupid, ignorant, naive little child that
What did
I am.
we call it last time? Dumb darling.
Yeah. Knowing full well that they absolutely gave her 2 months notice.
Yeah.
And she's calling me today
It's
for tomorrow.
so stupid.
Like, oh my gosh.
Oh, look, here.
Come on.
Hi, my name is undisclosed. Let's see what it says. I just got to read this voicemail because it's exactly what we're talking about. My name is
My name is Santa Christmas.
It changed it to Santa Christmas. That can't be this person's name, but it's really funny. My name is Santa Christmas. I sent you an email already about 3 pit bulls that my brother had that were in a house fire, and he was not taking care of them previously. I've already called animal control, and they could just pick them up. We have 4 small children that are just not doing well with. We don't know what to do, but I just couldn't leave them there. If you could call me back, and then leaves the number. What? A fire and pit bulls and kids. Let Ariel pick them up, honestly. Like, I can't help you right now.
I have been in contact with this woman at least 3 times in the last 3 weeks. And this woman isn't even the owner of the dogs. She is having work done at her house, and this guy is the, general contractor or whatever.
Okay.
Like, maybe it's a Angie's List thing. I don't know.
Okay.
Is that even a thing anymore?
I don't know. I've never listed with Ange.
Anyway, so this guy that's doing this work for her has this pit bull mix, and it is reactive to other dogs and reactive to strangers, and naturally they don't have a fenced-in yard, and naturally they just let it run free. And so the dog had an altercation with the neighbor and the neighbor's dog, and the neighbor and this person doesn't get along for all of the obvious reasons.
Right? You've got an at-large angry pit bull running around.
Right. And so this woman, bless her heart, she's just taken this on as her little pet project, literally. And she was going to pay for this dog to go to a board and train before it was surrendered to us. I said, ma'am, I would not advise you to do that. I mean, that's really generous. That's really nice of you to, consider that. But you're talking, thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's like $5,000.
I don't know if you've researched this at all, but it's very expensive. A board and train is very expensive.
Yeah.
So anyway, I said, well, have them send the surrender form. I said, but make them do it. Like, you've
not
taken on
your-
enough. This
yeah.
isn't your problem. Like, this is why the cycle continues to repeat itself. And she was all on board with that, and she was fine. And they submitted the surrender form, and I posted it in the Mafia with all the information, and nobody spoke up for it because of all of the, again, obvious reasons. Like,
Yeah.
and then she called, I think it was Thursday, and that was kind of the end of it. That there was another altercation, I think, with their resident dog, maybe even, and they were out of options. And I said, well,
Honestly, if it's
there's a lot of judgment that can go into that, which is why the pit bull breed has a stereotype, but it's not completely unfounded.
right, I mean, I've had pit bulls for 15 years, and it's just if you put them in a situation where they are allowed to have zero boundaries and zero training and zero, like if you're running amok, like any dog could get into a bad moment, But
I just feel like this breed is it's like like we talked about the Frenchies. Like the Frenchies require a certain type of owner, like a certain pay grade.
right,
To be
right.
completely honest, like
Yeah.
and like for example, an Aussie requires somebody that has that's active and has
Like,
energy.
I know
and,
that
like,
I don't want an Aussie because I don't even want to stand in the lake up to my knees for 20 minutes. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, it's just not for me.
Yeah. And so a pit bull is a breed that requires a lot of structure and a lot of dominance and hierarchy within the household with the other dogs in
Well-
the household too. Like it's not just a dog that you can it's not just a vanilla dog that you can let
Well, and some of them are.
Go.
Here's the problem with the pit bull. The problem with the pit bull is it's an easy breed to obtain. They're
Yeah.
cheap
Oh,
to
absolutely.
buy. They're overbred, and there's no control over a breed standard as we know it now. Because in the United States, anything that kind of looks like a pit bull, if you breed it and say I've got pit bull puppies, no one asks the question. No, there's no pedigree for this dog. Anything is a pit bull that looks like a pit bull. You know what I mean? The pit bull itself is not even really a breed of dog. There's like the Staffordshire Terrier, and then there is the American Pit Bull Terrier, which is kind of a breed of dog, but it's not. So it's
a
just
Sidequest.
it's a Sidequest dog. So it's a mix, and they're all mixes. And so what happens is people are idiots and they breed without thinking about the breed traits they're breeding for, right? So you might have like a dog of unsound temperament and it's beautiful. It's a blue color. It's got like this thing, a red-nosed pit bull. As soon as someone says red-nosed pit bull in our surrender
blue
thing, I'm like,
nose,
get
yeah.
out of here. That is not a freaking thing. You're just telling me about the coloration of a dog. That is not a breed of dog. That is a BS thing. That's like a teacup chihuahua. It's not a thing.
Right.
It's a made up thing to try and make a little more money off of the puppies that you probably already had that dog have. At 82 pounds, 3 years old, guarantee that dog has sired puppies. And so the problem with the pit bull is there's no regulation, and there's no regulation in who owns these dogs. And so for me, like I have had pit bulls that are completely more grounded and trustworthy than a schnauzer walking down the street, but I've also had some that have taken work and that have had issues and that I have understood how to work with that. But a majority of the folks, and I hate to say it, but a majority of the folks that tend towards liking this breed of dog don't have a lot of resources. They don't have a lot of, so they're getting the cheapest dog that they can get, and they're putting zero money into it, zero effort into it. They're not changing their lifestyle for it. And then you end up with a situation like this, with a guy who doesn't know how to shut his freaking door, with a dog that has zero training and probably has an unsound temperament because of poor breeding. Like, it's just a horrible cycle.
And that's what I was trying to say without saying it. Like, and I told her on the phone, I said, not trying to be judgmental here. Like, we try to give everybody a chance and whatever, but 9.5 times out of 10, there's a certain kind of person that is attracted towards the pit bull breed, and that person tends to not have the time or resources, money or otherwise, to give a pit bull what it needs to thrive.
Right.
And that's not on the dog.
No. And I don't know why.
I
mean,
don't know why either.
Other than that,
I've asked a lot of people that have tried to surrender pit bulls. I've just asked them point out, like, can you help me understand here
Yeah.
what drew you to adopting or buying or breeding a pit bull? Like, and they never have an answer.
I mean, and I just really have a problem with this whole conversation just because, like, I love them so much and so I get it. But, like, also, you're not wrong. Like,
They can be
they're
really great dogs.
They can just be
just like any other dog.
Right. But it's the garbage people that, like, why?
Yeah.
I think it's because they're so readily available. They're not difficult to get. Like, even at a shelter, like, if all the pit bulls at the ARL, they don't care who takes them home.
No.
They're not vetting these people to see if they're a good steward of
As long
the
as
breed.
they go.
Yeah, as long as they go. So, you know, and we always have a pit bull up for adoption. We are not, like, straying away from taking them, but we can't take every single one because we've got 40 of them in a row.
Oh my God, we could have.
We
could be an all pit bull rescue.
And the all pit bull rescues aren't taking in any pit bulls. Like, if I have a really special one that I'm like, this dog really needs help and I could really use, like, you know, a resource from a breed specific rescue, doesn't matter.
Right.
The fact that they're a breed specific rescue, they're just a rescue that happens to say yes more often than the others can.
Right.
And they sit longer in rescue because the people that are getting them, they're not rescuing them. They're buying them as a puppy off of Craigslist.
I was talking to this woman. I said, you know, I was trying to get her to come to her own conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know, what's the solution to that? You rescuing them out of this situation is not the solution to that.
Mm-mm.
You doing all this work, I mean, your heart of gold, and kudos to you, and thank you so much, and I'm sure it's very much appreciated, but they're not learning anything here.
No.
And I guarantee you within a year they're going to have another one.
Yep. And it'll be a puppy that they bought from some idiot off of Craigslist for $150. You know what I mean?
So what happens to this one, though? You know, it just sucks.
It really does suck. So I try to, like, when we take them in, obviously we had, like, the ditch dogs, which are obvious pit bull mixes of some sort. But when we take them in, we try to be really careful about when we say yes. And honestly, we can't say yes to a severe behavioral situation because we'll never get rid of it.
No.
And then it becomes our dog. And I don't want another project, like, personally. Like, and you can't ask people to do that. Like, that's...
Well, it's a risk too. You know, these people call, whether it's a pit bull or not, doesn't matter. When you're surrendering a dog and they have aggressive behavior, it's like, okay, well, I mean, we can talk about this Ezra.
Yeah,
we had
our second most surrendered breed, the Doodle.
Yeah, we had the surrender form submitted for Ezra, which is a golden doodle, a brown golden doodle. Looks more like a labradoodle to me, but whatever, doesn't matter.
Looks like a burnt chicken strip.
And then she follows up with a phone call saying, hey, this is kind of urgent. I just need to know. And I was like, well, what's the situation? I mean, I hadn't read the surrender form yet.
Right.
I answered the bat phone. So, and she said, well, Ezra's a 4-year-old golden doodle and he has severe resource guarding issues. And I said, okay, well, what does that look like? And she said, well, with food and toys and people and da-da. I said, okay. And so while she's talking, I'm looking up the surrender form and I'm reading through the surrender form. And it says that Ezra has had extensive training. And I said, well, it says here he's had extensive training. Who has he been with?
Right.
What kind of training has he had? And she gave the name of the trainer and I wrote it down and I said, okay, and took some more information and got some more backstory, whatever. She had bought it from a breeder in southeast Iowa. Weird. And I said, and I kind of scoffed at that. And she goes, oh, is that a problem? I was like, no, but that's
where they come from.
That's what you get. So I said, well, let me give this trainer a call and see what the story is there and see if this is anything we can help with. So I called the trainer, and her name actually happens to be Holly, too.
Nice.
And she was more than happy to talk to me about this dog. She said that they had gone through her training program, which is 20 sessions, back in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 years ago. And at that time, the dog was exhibiting resource guarding behavior.
Yeah. Like the intake form or whatever says Ezra has always resource guarded treats and toys.
Right. And when I talked to the trainer, she said, I remember this dog distinctly, and she had all kinds of notes that she was reading off to me.
That's
Like
nice.
she was very thorough.
That's nice. Yeah, that's good.
And she said, I did not mince my words with those owners. I told them that this was a serious issue and that they needed to get a grip on it now before it got any worse. And that, I mean, she was very adamant. And she goes, they didn't
Well, that was
listen
a
to me
puppy
at
then,
all.
because it says it's 3 years
Yeah.
old here. So it was just a puppy when all that was happening.
And
Oh,
I think
boy.
it was 7 months when she said
Yeah.
it was. And she said they kind of blew her off and didn't come back to training, and
They obviously didn't keep up with it.
obviously not.
So I was just listening to a podcast. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No, well, I was just going to say, this resource guarding thing, I've had dogs that have had resource guarding issues, and whether you work through that or not, and like I told this trainer, I said that's entirely up to them.
Yeah.
As the owner of the dog, that's your quote property.
Right.
You can do with it whatever you want. If you want to address it, fix it, don't fix it, tolerate it, whatever, I don't really care. As long as you keep your dog.
Right.
Don't have an assessed issue at 7 months old and not address it.
And then live with it for 2 more years, and then.
And now you want to give it to somebody else, and now it's their problem because you can't handle it anymore.
Because you have a grandchild now.
Right. So, the resource guarding thing, like my mom's dog, Jack, like he's very protective of her. And he's, you don't pet him, you don't talk to him. He's there, and he loves my mom, and he's good with my mom, and he's good with my dad when my mom's not there.
Right.
He has a wonderful life, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But the rest of us, all the grandkids,
they just know.
All the kids, all of us, we just know. You just don't.
That's Jack.
That's Jack.
Get back.
Jack is just a fluffy little thing in the window.
Yeah.
Don't talk to him. Don't touch him.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Because they're okay with
that. Because they're going to keep him.
Yeah, because they're okay with that. Well, so what I was going to say is I was listening to a podcast on the way down here, and the topic was resource guarding. And it was interesting because they were saying, without giving an actual path of fixing it, that here's the thing about resource guarding is it's one of the most fixable issues within a dog because it has a reason and that it's going to happen. So we're not talking about dogs that just bite out of nowhere or that have like neurological issues or that are just aggressive to be aggressive. No. We're talking about a dog that has a specific trigger that we can see coming, and it's trainable. You can fix that, but it takes hundreds of repetitions.
Like a muscle memory type situation.
So these people went to 20 sessions with this trainer, which they call extensive training. I mean, that's a lot of sessions, sure.
Agreed.
But
3 years ago.
3 years ago, but when it was a puppy. So if you don't continue to do this work over and over again for the entirety of this dog's life, it's never going to get better. So what they were saying was, like, essentially, you find out so this dog's resources are treats and toys. Okay, cool. What can we do with treats and toys to, like, help change what's happening when the dog is choosing to resource guard? And the reason that they're continuing to resource guard is because they get what they want when they act like that.
Like with the hot dog kid.
Yeah, exactly. And it was funny because they actually brought up hot dogs and I laughed out loud. But like, for instance, they had one dog who would steal something, would steal like a leaf off the ground or a piece of paper or a tissue, and you'd say, hey, give me that. And then he would go, hum, and chomp you, because he's like, no, that's mine.
Right.
So what they figured out for this dog was, well, we have to do a trade. So when you've got the thing that, you have something that you're not supposed to have, and you show me, and I say, drop it, or whatever the leave it command is, and then we trade it for a higher value treat or food or whatever, and we do that 100 times over and over again. Now, she said, she can just walk up and say, leave it, and take the item because she's conditioned him to learn that it's better to leave it than to keep it and run away.
Right.
So they've done that over the course of time.
But that takes time
and effort.
Patience, effort, maybe a little money.
Yeah. I mean, really, once you figure out what the trigger for a resource guard is, whether that be food, whether that be barriers, a resource guard can be a dog that's barrier reactive on a leash. That's resource guarding because they're guarding their area when they're on that particular item. Like they're on the leash or they're behind a fence or whatever. That's a method of resource guarding.
Also, I think in this particular instance, the dog is in a home with humans that are not assertive or dominant.
That has a lot to do with it.
Alpha, anything like that. And there's also another dog in the residence that is very low on the totem pole.
Right.
And so when you're trying to when I first saw this runner from, I'm like, are you freaking serious? Like golden doodle? Like what are we
Yeah.
talking about here?
Yeah.
This is dumb. And so then you get all this backstory and you get all this extra information and you're like, I kind of feel like this dog maybe just needs, this totem pole readjusted.
Yeah.
Like he's
needs
in an
his world
environment
rocked a little
where
bit.
he's at the top and he feels like he has
Mhm.
to protect everything, including his people. And
The word protect, though, when we talk about resource guarding, it's almost not quite right because he's not protecting crap. He's
Right.
getting what he wants.
right,
He's not protecting anything.
he almost just needs rolled a little bit,
yeah.
which sounds cruel and but it's worked. And
Sometimes they need rolled, and
a
sometimes
couple good
it's just a
instances.
matter
I've got a couple good instances where it's worked very well.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's that they get rolled or they get rocked off the totem pole or somebody else becomes higher than them. And as the owner, though, you can do that in a completely humane way as well.
Oh, when I say that, I don't mean
No,
like
I
put
know.
him in a ring and let him just get rocked.
I know.
I'm just saying,
I know.
like,
But
somebody a little bigger than him needs to come in and say, we're not going to do that anymore.
well, and it could just be a bigger personality.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a dog. It can
No.
be a person or,
Yeah.
a trainer, and then the trainer can do the handoff to the owners. Like, that happens all the time.
Yeah. Well, it was just like with our little deaf guy,
Yes.
Finn. Like he had this handler who was wonderful and worked really, really hard for him, but she was so meek and anxious in her person that it relayed to him. And so literally when she would hand the leash over to someone who had more confidence with him, he completely acted correct.
Right.
Like and sometimes that's just it.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
like getting on a horse and being scared. Like,
Yeah.
they can feel it.
The horse knows you're scared.
They know that you're
Yeah.
scared, and they're just going to go off on you.
Oh yeah, dogs take that on completely. And so but yeah, I really liked that, hearing that today. That's like, well, the easiest solvable issue with a dog is resource guarding, as long as there's no unpredictable behavior.
Yeah.
Because if there's something that you know that they're guarding, and they will show you when they're going to do it. Yeah. Like if the food bowl gets sat down and they lunge towards it, you know when it's going to happen. So you know that you have to hand feed that dog until it knows that the only way that it's going to get food is directly from your hand. Fixed. But you have to do it 100 times.
Yeah. Well, and like my little kid, the most recent one, he's very protective. He's blind, so he doesn't. When he'll go off, and there will be nothing around him.
He's just like, I'm just making sure nobody's over
He'll
here.
be like, Otter, there's nobody around you, bud. He'll be like, okay, and he goes back to eating. But I just know I'm putting him in a kennel to eat.
And you're living with that, and
I'm living with that because he's freaking blind, man.
Yeah.
He's like 800 years old. It'll be fine. And I'm cool with it. I'm the only one that has to deal with it.
It's great. Like, I never care.
I'm not going to fix this situation.
No.
Like, it's...
No. It's
And
like,
that's a different kind of owner. I feel like
yes.
there's definitely not even tiers, because it's all the same playing field. Like,
tolerance
there's just
tiers.
different types of owners. Like, there's people that just want to come home and sit on the couch with their dog and not have to do any training, and they're not teaching tricks and
Right.
whatever, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
We got a dog for you. And then there's all the way up to people like you and Nadia, where you're training your dogs and you got your clickers and your collars and your all the things, and you know how to address a certain issue, and that's cool too.
Yeah. And it's where you derive joy as a dog owner, right?
You gotta match your dog up to your person.
That's right. But when you commit to a dog, sometimes you gotta
and match your
buck up.
breed up to your person.
That's true.
A lot
Well,
to do with it.
and the funny thing is, we always laugh. Well, Stacy, our doodle queen, she says there's something very different between. She told me she wants to, but between like a labradoodle and a golden doodle. So I was shocked to see that this was a golden doodle, quote unquote, or whatever the heck they think it is.
You saw the picture though, right?
Yeah, I did. It's like a brown thing.
It's just okay.
Yeah.
What did she say was the biggest difference?
Labradoodles are crazy and dumb, and golden doodles eventually sweeten up and calm down.
Okay.
Because they've got more of the golden trait, whereas the labs
Or more derpa.
not much happening up there.
Oh,
But anyway,
man.
this one's a golden doodle, but it's a brown golden doodle.
We got way off of our normal schedule here.
Well, I think that's an important topic, and I did want to talk about that resource guarding a little bit, so I'm glad you brought that up,
Yeah,
and we could dive into that a little bit, because it is a fixable thing if you're willing to do it, and the fact that these people are not willing to do it is unfortunate for this dog, because I think that they could, and maybe they're not able. Maybe that's just not going to happen for them, and that's fine.
You have surrender request reasons on the list here, and there's also different levels of surrender people.
Yes,
too. Like there's people that are calling in that are literally calling
the day
for
before.
help. No, they're calling to ask for help with a certain issue.
Yeah.
Asking for resources, saying, hey, this is what's going on. Can somebody help me? Like, I don't know how. I'm sure a vet gave them
like
a number.
I've gotten to the point where I Googled dog surrender request, and here I am.
Right.
Please help me so I don't have to do this.
And then you've got the next crowd where, like, they maybe have a legitimate reason that they need to surrender. You know, mom died and left her dog, whatever. Okay, cool.
Right.
And then you've got the people that are at they're on
done.
the ledge, and there's no talking them off of it. And I don't care if you paid for the resources. They're not interested. They don't care.
They're done.
They want this problem out of their lives.
They're one step away from dropping the dog on the end of a dirt road.
Right.
Yeah.
And more often than not, that's the person
It's
that
true.
we get on the phone.
And you know what? Who we don't want to help? Them. It stinks. I mean, we have to sometimes, but dang it. Like, it'd be nice if you asked for help before it was the end of the road.
When you had 2 months.
Yeah.
That would have been the time to call.
Right.
Or a month. Or more than
1 day.
1 day.
Good Lord. Yeah, it's wild. So, I mean.
But we did, okay. What else do we have? Do you want to go to intakes?
Sure.
Or you?
Yeah, no, we'll loop back around and kind of dig into a couple of these more. I
okay,
think.
We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 intakes.
Mm-hmm.
Astro is a
Boston Terrier. It's the cutest Boston Terrier
we don't get
ever.
those very often.
No, I happen to get. I don't always open the emails for like the shelters across the country that are like, please, these are our euthanasia list dogs, because you can't do it every day. It's every single day. If you look at every single day, we would have 300 dogs coming in a day. But I happened to open this one, and it was from Texas. And we, as you know, we talked about our distemper puppies, and we did a real long pause on taking dogs from Texas. But these people seemed to have their poop in a group, and they were using like a legitimate transporter, and it was all pretty well organized. Yeah, it seemed really great, and they did an awesome job. So I'm scrolling, and there's the sweetest little muffin of a he's got the squishy face, and his white is like on the middle of his face is like wider, so he looks like special, you know. Oh God, I was like, I don't care what the description says, we're getting this dog. Like, so I scrolled down, it basically said he was on a behavioral hold because he was aggressive, and I was like, there's no way that dog's aggressive. Look at him, he doesn't have 2 thoughts in his brain. He is not aggressive.
How old is he?
Baby, he's like
baby.
1. He's baby.
I'm just a baby.
I bet he's like 10, 11 months old. So anyway, sight unseen, other than that picture that just completely destroyed me, I was like, we're bringing a dog up from Texas, FYI. Okay, bye. So brought him up here. He jumps off the transport, literally into my arms, and starts licking my face.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Super behavioral.
Very mean. I was like, he was on a behavioral hold. And the lady who's driven like overnight from Texas, she's like, I don't care about you, ma'am. Just take this dog and get out of here. I took a picture of inside the van. It's insane. They drive these vans. They're stacked to the top of cage on cage. There was a German Shepherd that was in a cage that was not saying they were doing a bad job with this, because I don't think they could have gotten a bigger cage fit in there, but it was a very small cage, and that dog had been in that cage, except for potty breaks,
Can you imagine
since the day before.
That many dogs?
No, there was like 100. No, they were bringing 112 dogs in 2 vans up from Texas in 1 day.
Jesus.
Yeah, and they were stacked and stacked and stacked, and anyway, it was crazy. But yeah, she jumped out. I'm all like googly-eyed. I mean, my God, look at that thing. Anyway,
he's adorable.
He's absolutely adorable, but he's wild. He's a Boston Terrier, so he's parkouring off the walls. So I picked him up. Parkour. Ah! He was too. He was yelling it while he was jumping off of my my pug's faces. Yeah, here's the inside of that van.
Dad, your butt.
Look at them all. Like, and it went back. Like, there were so many kennels stacked up 3, and they had cats in there too, which is crazy. But anyhow, anyway, he was nuts. I had him for exactly 1 day, and then Barbie took him, and we had 20 applications.
Oh, I'm sure.
And 0 of them have panned out. It's
Yeah.
stupid. Because they get excited about...
This is another wild thing, Sidequest. I'm sorry. When does this happen? Like, when I decided I was going to adopt Jax, like, I called Chris and I talked to
You
her
were there
for
that day,
like
I think.
a half an hour. I was like, well, I need to like get on the road. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, you're 2.5 hours away. Like, I'm going to come get him right now. She goes, oh, okay. Like, no, we're not scheduling this out.
No.
And that is happening more and more and more
it's
and
so
more and more.
annoying. I don't get it.
I don't either. But these people, these adopters, I don't know if it's like the next generation or if it's like, I don't know.
So, like, I think I consider
They're like,
us
oh, I have a dentist appointment next Thursday. Can I get him after that?
stupid. Like, my God. I'm calling the dentist to say, hey, would it be okay if I brought a Yorkie in? Because I have a cleaning and she's going to be brand new and I don't want to leave her at home. Would it be fine if she'd be on my lap?
So wild.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. And people are like, oh, we need to think about it. I'm like, well, okay, maybe I can get that if you want to think about it overnight or something. Like,
If I meet that dog, though,
I just can't.
I'm like, let's go.
I know.
I got everything.
Like, I got Otter. I picked up Otter and Bethany, and I knew by the state line that kid wasn't going anywhere.
Well, and I try to be really fast about posting dogs on our website as soon as they come in because I want anybody because we get quite a bit of traffic on our website and I know people check it pretty often. So I'm like, if people happen to check it that day and they see a dog they like, even if it's not even landed in the foster home yet, I want it in the system. And like 2-3 days later, Holly's like, could you just take Otter off the page?
Just for now.
Just for a little bit. And I was like, oh, jeez. You've been had.
Oh, shoot.
Anyway, so that little Boston's name is Astro. His name before was a different weird name because it was named after I'm going to say
Baseball player or something.
I'm going to say this wrong, but I think it's a Houston Astros.
Okay.
Is that correct? So he was a baseball player for the
Go Sports.
Yeah, sports. Anyway, so Barbie decided to change his name to Astro because neither one of us knew what the heck the name was or what it meant. We had to Google it.
Stilts is a potential foster fail, I've heard.
No, they decided they are for sure not a 2-dog household. And I said, I knew that.
Oh.
She likes to say it every time. She says, could you just take him off the site? And I say, no, because you say this every time I bring you a doodle that you want to keep it. And it's not true.
I think there was a concern about the grooming bill.
Yes, her husband is the tightest. He doesn't listen to this podcast, so I can say it. He is the tightest human I have ever met in my life. Like, she'll go to Costco and buy like a case of water or, whatever. They would never buy a case of water because that's a waste of money. It comes in the faucet. She'll get like, 6 bars of soap and it'll be, not the Costco brand. He'll be like, do we really need to get Dove? Like, what? I remember they went to the farmer's market one time and she was really thirsty. And so she's like, I'm getting a bottle of water. And it was like $6 because you're at the farmer's market.
Right.
And he was like, he talked about it for a week and a half.
Well, she sent me some pictures and I was like, man, that dog looks very comfy.
He's really happy at their house and he's a really good boy. He looks more poodle than doodle to me.
Definitely. Well, I think it's partially the haircut too.
Oh, I love his haircut with the little bouffant.
Go for it.
Stupid. Anyway, he's a great young, 0 fears, 0 issues, potty trained, being a really good boy. And
it was surrendered because of
an old lady got him.
And it was
from
too much energy.
And it was too much energy for her, which, sure.
Oscar, Polly Pocket, Schnitzel, and Arthur was a group of Cheweenies.
That weren't Cheweenies after we found out.
They're Chinman pins.
Yeah, they're Chinman pins.
Chinman pins.
The new designer breed.
And I had the perfect group chat name for that too.
I was so proud.
The Cheweenie roast.
Hilarious. And then they ended up not even being Cheweenies. And Schnitzel, obviously, and Oscar were named on the guise that these were Cheweenies. And they got here, and I was like,
not wieners at all.
These are not wieners at all.
Yeah, she named him Oscar for Oscar Mayer.
You just got Min Pin
there. Yeah.
I don't think Chi Min Pin is actually a thing.
Chin Pin.
Chi Pin. Chi Pin puppies for sale. That's what they... Chin Pin? Chi Pin.
I don't think... Yeah.
Chihuahua Min Pin mix. A Chi Pin. A Chippin. A Chippendale.
A Pinchy. I like pinchy better.
A pinwawa.
Pinwa.
Well, whatever
Like
they are,
quinoa.
they came out of like a hoarding situation in Missouri, I think,
Okay.
or whatever, in the middle of nowhere. Older lady, she ended up having to leave her home and left behind what we were told.
There was like 7 of them.
Originally told there was 7. Then there ended up being 9. One of which was pregnant, and we were like, ooh, we don't want that one.
We did have a spot for it though.
We were ready to take it if we had to, but luckily another rescue said we want a pregnant Shibin Pinwinnie Doodle Da.
Okay.
And so they took that one, and we took 4 that were not pregnant. And they're really sweet dogs, actually. They're quite lovely. But anyway, I think most of them will be going home in the next week.
Well, Oscar's already adopted.
And yeah, Oscar already has a home, and I think Polly Pocket has like lots of applications. So I think that one
I
should.
need one of these dogs to take to the thing this Thursday.
Well, she should still be around.
Jules, that's
That one came up. Another doodle thing came up from Moffat. They helped us out with one of the ditch dogs, and so they asked if we had a.
it's in.
Yeah, it's already adopted.
Yeah.
Beautiful little dog, actually.
You want to talk about your?
Yeah, Satie. So Satie was a referral from the Yorkie Rescue. I really like Sheetal, but I'm going to stop answering her calls real soon. She is not in a spot. She's like the only foster in Iowa for the Yorkie Rescue right now, and she's got an elderly dog that's not doing great, and then like a young crazy one, and she's just not in a spot to take on anymore. So when she gets referrals that she thinks that we might be able to help with, she calls. Well, this one, we didn't really know for sure what we were getting into, but I knew it was going to be maybe like a neurological puppy based on the description. And Jennifer, who is our foster who owns Jet and Monkey's dog shop downtown, she's got a little neurological poodle thing. His head goes back and forth, you know, he looks at you and there's nothing looking back, and his head is, 2 sizes too big this day, and she loves that crap. She likes the neurological special needs dogs, so she was like, well, it's a Yorkie, I love Yorkies. That was one of Jet and Monkey, I think one of them was a Yorkie or something, I don't know. But she loves Yorkies and she likes the neuro dog, so I said, well, I guess if you're willing to take it on, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
We brought her in. She's only 7 months old, and she had hydrocephalus immediately as a puppy, and they never got it looked at. And so they never had her medicated to help reduce swelling. There was a surgery that could have been
Do you
done.
want to maybe talk about that just like high level?
Yeah. So hydrocephalus is essentially, well, like water on the brain.
Yeah.
And this dog has a big soft spot. So I think it's a fontanelle is what they call it. On the top of their head is open, and it never fuses closed with the skull because their brain and the fluid inside of it is too big for their head, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So it essentially just keeps growing and then causes brain damage and then neurological issues after that.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that can be done when they're younger sometimes if it's not too severe that can help them. But the folks that had her didn't do anything, and she was 7 months old, and now she's to a point where she's got such severe brain damage that we can't.
So our good friend ChatGPT says that it is present at birth, most common, but it can also be acquired due to infection, trauma, like if they get dropped or get stepped on, their head stepped on or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Breeds at higher risk: Chihuahuas, Pomeranians, Yorkies, Pekingese, Boston Terriers, so on and so forth.
Little fat-headed dogs with big eyeballs.
But it can be treated if caught early enough.
Yeah.
But that I'm assuming that the pressure on the brain and on the spinal cord is what eventually causes the brain damage.
It does. So the vet said that she's got so much damage at this point that even at 7 months old, a surgical intervention would just lead in death anyway, based on how bad it is. And I said, well, I mean, depending on how bad the symptoms are, maybe Jennifer is just willing to hang on to this dog and give it palliative care until it's time. So we went and got steroids, and we tried steroids for a little while, and it is not tapping it. So this dog walks in one direction in a circle for hours at a time, and then it will walk into a wall and press its head against the wall. That's a big sign of...
It's just got to be like a constant freaking migraine for these dogs.
It's in horrible agony and pain, and it's unhealthy, and it's not it's not viable for life.
No.
So we're going to have the dog euthanized at 8 a.m. tomorrow,
Man.
which sucks because I really thought, like if it was not as severe as it is, that Jennifer would probably just give it a life forever,
Right.
But anyway, I'm glad we tried, but it stinks because, no one gets to, this dog doesn't get to have a good life and whatever. Well, the crappy part about all of this is, so when I talked to the lady and when she talked to the lady at the Yorkie Rescue, she did not disclose that she is privately breeding tiny Yorkies.
Oh, fuck.
So it's not that she just got a puppy that has hydrocephalus and then this happened. Oh, no. She has tiny Yorkies that are like, little bitty, like my girl, up to, 3 to 7 pound little tiny Yorkies. And she's hobby breeding them and selling them. Occasionally, she says, every once in a while we have a litter. Like, okay. This lady is insane. She sent me link after link after link after link of her TikTok of all of her Yorkies, and it's like, how can I get the rest of them? Like, I'm concerned.
What is she in Iowa?
Mm-hmm. She lives in Boone, I want to say.
Stop it.
I'll get her information to you, see if you know her. It might not be Boone, but I'm pretty sure it's Boone. I'm pretty sure it is.
I would love to know.
I can tell you.
That's hitting a little close to home there.
Yeah, well, it's an issue. And actually, because she's breeding and she has more than 3 intact dogs, this could be a reportable thing. But she's been to my home, so I want to let it settle a little bit before I call that into iDols. But anyhow, it just makes me mad because it's not like somebody that just got a hydro
I'll
dog
go to
and
her
did...
home, and then we'll make it even.
There we go. Yeah, we have your address, ma'am.
All right, well, that's enough of that.
I know. Sad.
Hippie.
I don't know where the heck this thing came from. Barbie.
Hippity dippity.
Barbie, who we're
That
now
lab
calling,
puppy.
oh my dog, east
West.
or east, west, whatever the direction she is. Yeah, west. She had someone that wanted to surrender some lab puppies that essentially weren't selling to her, and they ended up getting homes for all of them but one, and Hippie's like a little silver lab. That thing is going to be gone this week. It's got 1 million applications already.
Did you take this next one from my tomato plant?
Yes. I was going to name her Full Celebrity, but I thought it's kind of cute, like shortened celeb.
So I start all my plants from seed in my greenhouse, and I had leftover tomato plants, and so I posted it on Facebook, and I listed out all the varieties of tomatoes that I had. And
Which are ridiculous.
Kara's like, this sounds like a list of good dog names. Great, Kara.
Well, one of them was like Gardener's Delight, Celebrity,
Rutgers.
That's
Girly Girl. Better Boy.
These are dog names.
We should do a garden-themed group.
That would be cute.
That would be cute.
Yeah.
Probably would go over better than our serial killer theme group.
Oh, Lord.
Some people have some big feelings about that.
Now, listen. If you are crazy enough to be in dog rescue, you probably are also a true crime junkie, right? As we are.
Yeah.
And majority of the world is a true crime junkie. We haven't had like a legit serial killer in our midst for a hot minute. This is a vintage deal, right? So we picked out our top 5 serial killers.
I suggested it. I was like, Natasha was like, she tried to come up with some theme for these puppy names, and she was failing miserably. I mean, bad. I'm like, I think you better keep working on this a little bit.
Yes.
And then I said, well, do a serial killer theme. I mean, that'll go over. It went over, that's for sure.
I had to hide a lot of comments.
And you know what? I tried to find a podcast today on my way home. It's like a 2-hour drive. That's all everything is. It's all freaking murder and crime and killing and all this shit.
And here's the deal. Who is the largest portion of the population that is rescuing dogs? White women. And what do white women like? True crime.
I guess.
I don't get why it didn't overlap.
I don't know why it didn't.
Several people, including my mother, said that she really liked the names and thought it was very clever. I want to read for you the descriptions of the puppies because screw it. If you guys want to get mad at the podcast, don't listen. But anyway, let's see.
Just for some context, we posted the puppies on our Facebook page, and people were commenting on there saying how the naming was disgusting,
Distasteful.
distasteful,
But to be
and that
truthful, like
these
there was like 5 people that did that, and everybody else was like cool.
well, if there's 5, there's 50 that feel the same way. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
I didn't even think about, like, okay, I mean,
Sure.
if your mom was murdered by John Wayne Gacy, okay, like,
Then send us a letter and we'll take it down. You know what I mean? No. Here's the post. I thought it was hysterical. So, warning: the serial killer litter will be officially on the loose starting Friday, June 13th. Hilarious. June 13th. That's when they're ready to go. Yes, Friday the 13th, because of course it is. They are preparing for parole now and accepting applications for their new victims' homes. Bring gloves, garlic, and maybe a tiny priest. Cute? Yes. Cuddly? Sure. But behind those wagging tails and puppy eyes lurks pure, unhinged chaos. Meet the murder muffins. Mr. Gacy loves clowning around until he doesn't. Found digging graves in the flower bed and smirking. We're concerned. Mr. Dahmer, obsessed with bones. All the bones. Missing a chew toy? Check his freezer, aka the laundry basket. Mr. Holmes built a trap door in the dog bed. No one's seen the cat since. Probably a coincidence? Probably. Which, by the way, Mr. Holmes, H.H. Holmes, is like my favorite serial killer, and he had like trap doors in his house. Look it up. It's hilarious. Miss Guinness, don't be fooled by her good looks. She's already seduced the neighbor's dog, the mailman, and a toddler. Miss Dyer, sweet, silent, and disturbingly efficient at making toys disappear, also hoards leashes like trophies. Disturbing. They've left a trail of destruction, chewed furniture, and psychological damage, and we couldn't be prouder. That is hysterical. That
was really good.
So well done. It is adorable.
It's like your friend from Wisconsin wrote that.
It does sound like our friend from Wisconsin wrote that.
I mean, we're just trying to get dogs adopted here, people.
And
We're
you know
not
what?
here to
And
make
also
any...
trying to have a little fun. My goodness.
And we're all gonna die anyway.
That's a timely joke for you Iowans.
Oh my dog. That didn't land either.
No, it didn't.
Jesus.
been a
These
rough-
people are unhinged. Honestly.
Oh, so funny. Anyway, I don't even care. I was like, and Holly's like, is this a PR issue? I was like, no, screw it. It'll be fine. I know. There's only so many battles we can fight, and if somebody else wants to try and save 600 dogs in less than 2 years, go ahead.
Well, all you have to do is look back at all of our other names to realize that we're psychotic.
Ain't quite right.
Anyway, no offense to anybody. We're sorry to anybody that was offended.
I am not sorry. I think it's hilarious. And if you didn't read that and like smile, they probably read it, smiled a little, and they're like, "Oh gosh, I should be offended."
That felt too good.
That
I need to
felt
be
too
mad.
Good. But Celeb, named after a tomato, is the cutest little hot dog muffins, sugar tart, chunky monkey chihuahua I ever did see. She's so squishy. I love her. I don't know who doesn't want her because they need to hurry up and get her because she's the best dog ever. I love her. I don't even know where she came from. It doesn't matter. She's so great.
Pixie was in and out and then back in.
Yes. Breeder release dog.
And the lady that adopted her had a resident dog that I think was a little bit older than her, and maybe this one was too much for
Bigger.
it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, Pixie didn't do anything wrong. The other
No.
dog was like picking on Pixie and like was jealous of her. It was the word that was used. Okay.
Bad intros.
Yeah. They just didn't take their time.
Expensive bad intros.
Yeah. I mean, no refund, Pixie. And then Sheltie, little Sheltie, his name is Klaus. I don't know if she's going to change it or not. She just picked him up tonight. I told her she had to change it because that name is horrible, but she said she wasn't sure because she liked Vampire Diaries. So I don't even know what that means.
I don't get the reference.
I don't either.
Okay.
I said it for those who would. I don't.
I also tried to read this weekend. Like, all these people read all these books that we talk about on this
You
show.
read sometimes.
I just cannot.
I like to
there's
listen.
So much. It's summertime. There's so much stuff to do.
I put the book in my ears, and I have 2 AirPods.
I would if I had 2 AirPods, but I don't. Okay? I lost an AirPod freaking 4 weeks ago, and I lose these freaking AirPods all the damn time, but they always pop back up. And this one AirPod has not popped back up, and I fear it's gone forever.
He's a
And
runaway.
I feel bad because my AirPod that I still have is like, hey, where's my friend? And my other AirPod is off in the abyss somewhere. Like, is anybody coming to get me?
She's watched too many.
My battery is dead.
What was the Brave Little Toaster? You saw the Brave Little Toaster as a kid, didn't you?
I don't know what that is.
You don't?
No, I don't.
You need to watch it. It's a cartoon, but it's a great cartoon.
I feel like it's gonna make me cry even more when
It
I
will.
lost
The
AirPod.
boy goes to college and he has all of these things that he really loves, like a toaster, a heated blanket, and like all these things. And they're inanimate objects that come to life. And
That's my whole life.
you gotta watch it. Look at you never seen this? The Brave Little Toaster? It is such a good movie. It was one of our favorites growing up. Look at him and his little arms are the flaps for the toaster. He's so cute. And even the sink and everything they have and there's a vacuum cleaner and a radio, a lamp, and a heated blanket. And
This doesn't make me feel any better about my lost AirPod.
Okay, well,
And you know what's gonna happen is I'm gonna buy another pair of AirPods. And here's the thing. The new AirPods are coming out in September, and I was already planning on getting them. I was already budgeting, putting away my pennies so I'd have enough money by September to get the AirPods. Because I love my AirPods so much. I really do. Obviously enough that I lose them all the time, but that's beside the point.
it's because they're with you all the time.
But now, so if I get a replacement, what do I do with the left AirPod that I still have? Do I just like put him in a drawer and be like, well, you're worth nothing without the other one.
You're gonna let me watch him for you, and I'll take care of it.
And then these new fucking imposters coming in, like they've been my AirPods this whole time, connecting to my phone and all this
you need
stuff.
to watch the Brave Little Toaster and then get yourself a new AirPod.
And you know, as soon as I buy that replacement set, the one that I lost is going to show up somewhere.
Yes, it will.
And then what am I going to do with the new set? I don't need you anymore. You're worthless.
Don't your AirPods ever die? I have 3 pairs.
No. I have one pair. Well, I have half a pair. So anyway, if any of our listeners have a lonely right AirPod,
Your next foster dog, we're just gonna name AirPod.
I've got a clean ear that I
We'll
could
found him then.
sit in for the next 5 months.
Ah,
Oh my god.
anyway. Okay, and then we had some adoptions, and most of them we can buzz through, but the first one is very important.
Yes, finally, Winona has been adopted. I think the reason I'm recalling this is because of the big post. We made the big post and I shared it and everything because my parents have been fostering Winona since January.
Forever.
Long time. She was our little mega e-girl, and she was dumped in rural Dallas County in the middle of January.
Yeah, you can listen to the whole
Freaking 10 pounds.
podcast to listen to her whole
Yes.
story.
Super sweet gal, but I'm hoping that she's doing good, and the people have sent some pictures and videos, and she seems to be doing all right.
Yeah.
But little Tater Tot, my parents' Chihuahua,
They were BFFs.
they were BFFs, and Tater's been a little,
Morose.
Dad says needed a few extra treats at the end of the night.
Oh, Lord.
A few extra bites of watermelon.
She is a pretty
Anything
gal.
he eats, she eats, so
Hilarious.
there's that.
Well, that's amazing. And I know I've talked about like what your parents did for her
Oh
a few
my gosh.
times, but my goodness, that was an above and beyond foster situation.
Yeah, hey, could you just watch this dog for like 12 hours?
Please.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Freaking 5 months later.
Man. But so that was huge. Big deal. And then Lucky Golden, I just wanted to bring this one up. So Lucky was one of our volunteer groomers. She had her puppy that got its leg stuck in its
Yeah.
kennel. He's finally graduated. They adopted him back. They paid the adoption fee. They filled out the thing and everything. We made it all official. So, like, taking on things like this is, like we said before, not our norm. But for this was a situation.
No, but if we
couldn't
can't
say
do
no.
things like this, what are we doing?
What are we doing? So we were able to get him her all fixed up. So they did the original surgery to repair, and it failed. And then Bone started to die.
Oh, no.
So the vet said, I'm going to do the other surgery for free.
Oh.
He did do it for free, and he only charged us for anesthesia. And then they ended up cutting off the top of the femur, which is a common fix for this type of break, but not like the best way to do it. It worked awesome. So this
Get
dog,
what you get.
yeah,
You don't throw a fit.
that's right. But she's doing amazing. She's running around. She's playing, and her little buddy, our other dog, are just like the best of friends. And I was like, I couldn't imagine if they had to be split up. They like hug and sleep at night. They're so cute.
Zeus still doesn't use his front leg, by the way.
It's just useless.
Should have amputated it.
Did they cut the femur off, or did they do the fix?
They did the whole freaking rods and everything.
Oh, yeah. Should have just chopped it off.
That's what I said.
Well, that's what I said, too.
That's what Kyle said, but guess who didn't say that?
Well, he gave us a free surgery, so.
Dad. Dad said
Oh,
that.
Dad.
Don't cut his leg off.
It's going to be terrible. Now he's just got a leg that dangles. He's got a leg that's just an accessory.
And he chased my car the other day.
With his floppy ass legs.
Yes.
You're gonna if he loses another leg, he's out the door.
Ugh. I tell him every time over there, Zeus, you do that shit again, you'll be down to 2 legs.
Yeah, you're gonna have to learn how to
Give
drag
you a
yourself
wheelchair.
around. Lord.
Murph, finally.
Yeah, that should have gone faster because we had so many. Every person that
How do you
applied.
pronounce that?
Wisla.
Wisla.
Everybody that applied for that dog was from out of state. It was super weird. It's like there was a Wisla group from out of the state that was like, hey, look at this beautiful dog. And then everybody applied for it. And then it was just like a mess of trying to deal with out of state applications.
We should do a breed dive on that sometime because what is their purpose?
They're a hunting dog.
For what, though? Like,
Bird dog.
like ducks or?
Bird dog.
Okay.
I don't know what that means because I would never shoot a bird. But somebody would. Don't even get me started about that bird flinging again.
Oh, Jesus.
I did not know that was a thing. I'm very upset.
Oh, next. Jazz. Jazz was adopted today.
Today.
That's our blind.
No eyeball.
No
little
eyeball.
Rat terrier thing.
That's 14 years old.
Old as hell. Adopted by my neighbor.
Yeah.
Nice lady.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why that's. Oh, it's because she was adopted and then returned.
Right.
So, Pixie is in there.
Larry was
The ugliest thing I ever did see.
Gina's poodle. It was like a standard poodle, wasn't it?
Or Ginny, yeah, she had no, it was a Aussie
Aussie
doodle,
doodle.
but it looked like
An Aussie.
kinda. It was ugly.
Xena Puppy Princess.
Yay!
was
This is a
Jenny's.
big one. Yes.
Jenny.
Yes.
Jenny.
Jenny.
I know we talked about that last time.
Yeah, we did. And then Jules again was the one that was in and out. That little cute scruffy puppy thing. So
Right.
that's it. So
We did have a fun little to-do on Friday.
yes, we
What-
talked about that this was coming, but we went to go actually
Yes.
accept it.
Yes, on Friday we went to Shields and accepted a great big giant check
Hmm.
for $4,500. I love those big checks. They're so much fun.
This is hilarious. So the founder of the company that I work for, he's like a 70-some-year-old guy who's like got the key to the city of Adele, right? Like he's
Oh.
just like that kind of guy.
Sure.
And he started a nonprofit, and it's called Blue Kindness, and it's about like bridging the gap between like the police and like citizens and like, you know, whatever.
Okay.
Fixing that whole thing. Whatever it is. They do good works or whatever and involve the police in it.
All right.
I don't really understand it, but he's really passionate about it and he gets really excited. And I think it's a good thing, but whatever. He received a check from the Ladies of Adele. I think it's the Women of Adele or something. And Adele, I can never say it right. That singer really screwed us up. Anyway, they put him on the front page of the Adele Times accepting this check, and it's a huge check for $500. On the day that we got our check for $4,500 from Shields. So he sends in an email thread. He's like, hey guys, like look, and he sent us a picture and he's so proud. Yeah. So he's so proud and he's so full of crap, you know, I'm always razzing him. So he sends this check and everybody sends something and I was like, oh, you know, Dennis, I'm going to get a check today too. And I said, I bet it'll be big as well. And he's like, that's awesome. That means people are really caring about what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, it does. And so then I responded to the email with my big check picture, which was $4,500 instead of $500. And I said, it's a big check day. He did not reply.
Oh, he got his big check.
It was so funny. That's what we were joking about when we got that first check from Fleet Farm. We were like, what if it's only $500 and we're going down here with fridge?
Right.
$500 is a big
Oh,
deal.
and it still is absolutely
But
a
to
big
put
deal.
it on a big check and like have to go down there to take a picture for $500 is like, oh man.
And then it was like $3,500. That was
Yeah,
sweet.
that was awesome. We were surprised every time.
They always surprise us.
They do.
Shields tells us ahead of time.
Yeah.
Miranda just sends it.
Yeah. She just
She
was like,
doesn't even bother.
here's an email. This is real. Do not delete. Is not spam. And Miranda Lambert sent us an email. That's
Oh.
weird. Anyway, so that was funny.
So the Shields connection, though, a year ago, I looked it up. It was May 24th of 24. So it's
When
just
they got Rue?
just a year ago when we took Rue in.
Rue is so big now.
And it was Rooster.
Yeah.
And it was a dog that was left at the Winterset sale barn. And a friend of mine reached out and said, hey, can you help? And it was wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And Mitch, is it Patel?
I think it's
Patel?
Patel. I think Patel.
Patel.
I say Patel
Sorry,
when
Mitch.
I read it as Patel when I see it, which means it's probably not Patel.
Because it's, what's the toys? Toys.
Mattel?
Is it Mattel?
Like the dolls?
Yeah.
Mattel? Yeah.
Is it Mattel?
Mattel.
Well, so it's with a P.
Patel.
Anyway, they adopted Rue, and so last year, every year, him and his associates get $500 to donate to a charity, and last year he rounded up 7 of them for $3,500, and this year they rounded up 9 of them for $4,500,
So
which is
cute.
amazing.
Yeah.
And Rue was there, and he's gotten so big, he's all legs.
He's a
All
million
legs.
time legs, and he's got this beautiful tight coat. Like, this is why I love an official Pitbull, because they have like the tiniest hair coat. Like, it's really tight and slick. He's got like that kind of coat. It's
But he's
beautiful.
not a pit bull, Mick.
No, he's not. But he just
They
has
did the DNA test, and what did she say?
foxhound. No, was it
Cur or something.
Yeah, blue mouth cur, I think is what it is.
And you were like, what even is that?
Well, it's not what he looks like. I tell you that right now. I believe it's a blue mouth cur.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, blue mouth cur. That's what a blue mouth cur is, which looks like a freaking pit bull.
I don't.
Does it not? That looks like Dottie.
And what else? Rat terrier, did she say?
Yeah, like a million other things. But
yeah.
Anyway, it looks nothing like a blue mouth cur. It's black and white, like it's
right.
White. But I think it probably has a similar coat.
Black mouth cur.
Black. No.
Yeah.
It would be cool if it was blue.
No, he doesn't look like that at all. He doesn't even have the blocky head like that.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks kind of like a Rhodesian Ridgeback. It shows that as an option.
But he's got a lot of energy. He's just a puppy still.
He's just a baby.
He's just a baby.
He did happy piddle when he saw us.
Yeah. And I happened to be on my way to the lake, so I had all of my kids with me.
So we used them as photo opportunity.
So I'm like pulling into the Shields parking lot, and I've got all 5 of my dogs with me in the truck. And so I called Kara. It's like, hey. So I've got like a lot of dogs, and so she grabs Reese and Stanley, and I grab Otter because where's Otter gonna go in the store? Like I don't have to watch him because he's blind. Where's he gonna go? He doesn't know where he's at.
He had
He
adventures.
roams.
He went shopping for a
gives
bicycle
zero
at one point. He was weaving in and out of all the bicycles. Like that's a terrible thing to walk into if you're blind, is a bunch of bicycle tires. But he's like, I don't care.
And then he growled at Rue.
Yeah.
And then Kara microchipped him in the parking lot.
He was violently thrashing. I was like, well, the microchip's no longer in the syringe thing. And he's probably bleeding pretty good because he was thrashing all over when I had that needle in his back.
He was pissed.
Very mad.
Now,
It was
dogs,
not a great first impression for his auntie to meet him.
dogs go one of two ways with microchips. They either have no idea what happened or they freak
I've
out.
never seen a dog freak out like that, though.
No, me either.
I've always been able to just do it.
I
and then
told you he wasn't going to like it.
he knew what I was going to do before I did it. It's the heightened senses because he couldn't see me coming. He could feel what was going to happen.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure that it was in there either.
I know. I was like, that either went in him or it is on the parking lot in Shields, but
And I didn't have my scanner on me.
I didn't either.
And so when I got home today, that was like my first thing. It's like, I got to scan him and make sure it's in there. And it was.
Hey, who knows where?
So.
Yeah, so that got done. It is, this screaming dog we're just stabbing in
Yeah.
the parking lot after getting this a donation for being a good rescue, It's like,
And I'm holding him, and I have like my hand duct taped around his mouth. But the thing about Otter is he has like 7 or 8 teeth left, but none of them line up.
yeah,
So he can bite the shit out of you,
that's how Momo
but
was.
you don't feel anything
He
because,
used to bite people all the time, but none of his teeth matched, so it didn't matter.
well, whatever. But ooh, he was not a happy camper. Let me tell you what.
Mm-mm.
Oh man.
Well,
Anyway,
I think a lot of our other things we can save for it.
okay.
We've had a lot. I liked that we got to deep dive a little bit on the. Oh my gosh, why can't I say the words? You know what I mean. Resource guarding. I was going to say
Oh, yes.
reactivity, but that wasn't the right word. Resource
Yes.
guarding.
Yeah.
So I think we'll dive into that a little bit more. I do really still want to have a trainer come on and sit with us so we can just ask questions and they can give some ideas and, next steps for things if people for the commonly surrendered reasons for behavior,
Yeah, unfortunately, but like I said, by the time they get to us, they're over it.
I know.
They don't care.
We have some though, especially ones that have adopted from us that I think truly, not always, sometimes they're like, we're done. But sometimes on returns, I feel like
Oh, returns are a little different. I would say on surrenders, it's like 10% of people
are willing to take
to
help.
try something. On returns, it's a little different because they got skin in the game. They got money on the line.
Yeah.
There's it's very clear in our contract. It's time, it's adjustment for the dog. Most importantly, the dog's getting bounced around, so that's got to be worth something. But it's more so to try to get people to give dogs the time and the patience and to adjust, and we give them the resources with the contract, the 333, and the podcast and all the things. We've got these books from, is it From or whatever it is, that explicitly go through all of that too. So if your dog isn't adjusting well, there's in the 72 hours since you've adopted him, it's a very high likelihood that that's your fault.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
Yeah.
We're gonna push back on that a little bit.
Yeah.
We don't have time to bounce dogs around like that.
True. Speaking of which, I do have one more tale from the inbox, if you will, that I can kind of dig through, and we'll talk for just a minute. This is about somebody adopted. Do you remember Sven?
Do I?
He was
Should I?
Just look it up on Facebook. It's that poodle that had the big old overbite that was like this.
Oh,
he looked like
the sloth off of Ice Age.
Yeah, he looked like that critter off of Ice Age or whatever it is. Not the sloth, but the other whatever that thing. The squirrel.
The squirrel.
Yeah. They say really nice things about him. They said he's been very loved for the past year plus, but over the last year we've become increasingly concerned that we do not have a level of expertise or experience to give him the life he deserves. They basically outline that he's got a lot of anxiety, which sure, they've tried medications, but basically if he goes anywhere or sees anybody or anything gets scary, he pees his pants. Like he's just terrified. So they've tried medications. They felt like it just sedated him but didn't help his anxiety, which I believe sometimes that's the case. And they consulted with a behaviorist. I don't know if they got any suggestions yet from them. But they have not worked with a trainer due to his fear and that we're concerned that introducing a new person to his environment would be harmful. That's an invalid thought. Like, you need to engage a trainer at this point to help him gain confidence because he's not gaining confidence from you. And I'm apt to believe that these folks have really loved this dog but have not forced him in the slightest to experience things that are outside of his bubble of comfort. So then when that does happen, it's few and far between, it's terrifying, and he shuts down and he pees his pants, And
I don't remember where he came from.
I don't remember where he came from either. I'd have to look back. I think he was an owner release, but I can't remember.
It says owner surrender.
But she said, we're committed to supporting him for all the reasons outlined here. We're wanting to have a conversation on how to best do that.
Oh, nice.
So I'm like, this is great. They outline everything that's happening, their concerns, that they love him, but they don't know what to do next, that kind of thing. So I sent them a quick email that basically said, have you thought about putting a belly band on him when he has a scary situation coming up? Like somebody's coming over or he's going to the vet, so you don't have to clean up a giant puddle of pee and then you're stressed out because he's stressed out, and then it creates this whole thing. Number one, not that that's going to solve the peeing issue, but then number two, engaging a trainer who's, if you're concerned about having someone come into your home, willing to do like FaceTime or Zoom trainings like Clint will do, So I said you could start there and he could give you some tips on how to get his confidence up. He's just lacking the confidence. He's loving, he loves them, he's a good dog, he doesn't have any aggression issues whatsoever. He just has been very under-socialized and is terrified of the world, and so they just need some help getting him there. No one else is going to do a better job than this family who loves him. So I appreciated,
and they've had him for
over a year. So I appreciated them reaching out and saying like, hey, can we get some help? Like, what should we do? So I sent them those 2 suggestions, but then I need to follow up later this week and just say, hey, you want to have a conversation? Like, of course, I will talk to you, but I wanted to get those 2 thoughts out of my head and sent over to them. So anyway, that's where it's at. Like, we'll help you if you ask for help and
Oh,
are open
absolutely.
to help.
I'd be
Like,
more than happy to help you out. I mean,
yes.
that's what I tell all the people that want to surrender their dog. I listen to what the situation is, and I say, well, just like everybody else, we are also very full. So, what can I do to help you keep your dog?
Right.
Is it a financial issue? Is it a dog food issue? Is it a space issue? Is it a housing issue? Is it, other dogs? Like, do you need a crate? Do you need
Right.
baby gates? Do you need up to date on rabies vaccine? Like, what do you need?
Yes.
What can I do to get you to keep this dog? There's usually not an answer, but sometimes there has been. Sometimes they just need direction or up to date on vaccination so they can get into somewhere type of thing. So
I know it. Yeah. So I appreciated her reaching out for help. I'm going to give her as much support as we can. And I think they're down the right path, but I think they're too scared because he's too scared. And they just need to help him get some confidence by,
yeah,
making his world a little bigger.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but that's the prime example of like, yes, I'd love to help you because you're not being a garbage person right,
Right.
now.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it for today. My goodness. We really had a lot of good offshoots today.
Yeah, I don't know how that all landed, but
No.
here we are.
What are we what are we gonna name this thing?
Ooh.
Oh,
We'll figure it out.
we will.
Oh my dog.
What I mean when I see what I see, what I feel, when I dream, when I be, I'm a freak, what up? Oh, what up? Everybody look at me when I'm free, when I feel what I see, when I do it, I'm a freak, what up? Oh, what up? Say what we got, it's hot to spot, give up the drop, see what we got, do what, we got to go, the body flow, too hot to show, the front row, we won't stop.